I've got nothing against Niclas Füllkrug. In fact, I quite like him. I think he's a decent player as well. But you'd be hard-pressed to say that it's worked out as a transfer for West Ham. He's got good leadership skills, actually, Fullkrug. I like him. I like what I've seen of him. I like the way he speaks. And not just, by the way, in his sort of candid way, you know, the big German, he says what he wants and all that stuff. But actually, when you see him in the videos, behind the scenes, the way he interacts with a lot of the other players, he's probably got a lot of the leadership qualities that West Ham have needed earlier on this season. In fact, Tim Stuyton, who of course gets blamed with signing him, sort of doubled down on it and said, no, do you know what? If I had my time, I'd sign him again. I wonder, he said that probably about 6 months ago. I wonder if he'd say the same thing now. I guess we don't know, but he spoke about Fullkrug's leadership qualities. And you look at the team, okay, with 2020 hindsight and all the rest of it, we look back at it now and, you know, Freddie Potts and the way he played, he looks like he might bring some much needed leadership to the team, but there's one game there, right? Anywhere, start of the season, end of last season, any time when you thought we might have needed some leadership, maybe, just maybe, Fullkrug might have been that man. But it's not worked out as a transfer. I guess it's Stuyton's fault that we signed him, but he wasn't even Stuyton's first choice. That was John Duran. This runs far deeper than all that. West Ham, well, under the stewardship of David Sullivan, really, we've been crap at buying strikers. It's quite interesting that the two best forwards that we've had, I'm not including Jarrod Bowen in that, he's still a winger in my mind, but the two best forwards who's played any sustained period through the middle were Arnautovic and Antonio, both converted wingers. So look, we've really struggled with this, and I think, you know what, if it was just Moyes or it was just Bilic or it was just Pellegrini or whatever the case may be, you could pin it on one manager. But when it's all of them, multiple managers, multiple directors of football, head of recruitment, you think, well, actually, it's probably more to do with the club than anything else. But I don't think it's a transfer that's worked out. I've got to say, though, I've read earlier on, so I was going to do the video yesterday about Fullkrug, as I mentioned, but I was still happy, I was still buzzing from the game, still am, actually. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about, you know, the game instead. But since then, it was Florian Plessenberg has made a little tweet, had a little announcement. Now, he's the football correspondent for Sky Sports Germany. He used to do loads. When we had Stuyton, he had loads of news. So anyway, we know he's got the inside track with Fullkrug. In fact, I think it was Plessenberg that originally broke the news that we were about to sign him. Excuse me, just me salt and me seat. He said that Fullkrug's decided to leave, which I found really interesting. I don't mind him going, by the way. I don't really have a problem with this at all. But he wants to leave with a view to, he thinks another move will be more of a benefit for him getting in the in the German squad. Called it West Germany. Showing me age there. Called it West Germany. What? You're not in the German. Well, firstly, he was selected for the German squad. He's been selected for German squads. It seems like a strange thing. Irrespective of how crap he's been or how injured he's been at West Ham, when fit, he gets selected for Germany squads, right? No, so there's no problem there. But it's this thing at the moment, which is he needs to leave West Ham to get in a German squad. No, he's injured. This is the problem. I'm not saying that West Ham is hunky-dory and everything is brilliant at West Ham. Don't get me wrong. But this is not something that he can sort of control with just moving to another club, because if he moves to another club and he gets injured, he's going to find himself in exactly the same situation that he's in now. Anyway, he's back training and apparently he's going to be fit for the weekend. I think Nuno's got every right not to start him and to start Callum Wilson instead and maybe bring Fullkrug off the bench. I actually thought Fullkrug would probably do quite well for Nuno, because I guess I'd sort of made a lazy comparison between him and Chris Wood, but it doesn't really factor much into it, does it? They're both big. One of them's permanently injured, the other one isn't. And it has been a crappy old transfer. As I say, I've got nothing against him. I like him. But I think we'll probably look back on Fullkrug as £27 million wasted that we won't ever get back. But also, maybe someone that had a good pre-season and you know, went back to Germany, did a few podcasts, did a few quiz shows, and was pretty good on social media. And when the club did a video, And that's really how he'll be remembered at West Ham, and I do think he's better than that. So I don't blame it all on Fullkrug. I think a large portion of the blame is West Ham and our inability to get the best out of any striker, Fullkrug or anyone else. So apparently, it's just this thing that he's going to walk out and he's going to leave. Look, you don't get to decide. January is a really, really tough time to get a striker in, and I want us to get a striker, and we need to get a striker. But listening to the way that his agent was talking yesterday, Fullkrug, and the way that Plettenberg's talking today, it's as if West Ham have got no say in this. And I think if I was West Ham, I'd be saying, well, look, you can leave, and do you know what? We'll probably help you leave and help you find a club. But we've got a lot of money invested in you. So if someone's going to take you on loan, they're going to have to pay us a lot of money. But, by the way, we need to get another signing in first. This is absolutely crucial for West Ham. We've got to get another signing in. Because we're already really light on the ground. So, look, it's not going to be easy. There'll probably be a lot of loan deals to be had. And I'd imagine Fullkrug will probably go out on loan. It'll probably be a loan that comes in some way, shape or form. But we can't sanction that before we get another person in. But this brings it to really what I wanted to talk about. We're in so much better position after that win against Newcastle to bring players in. Make no mistake about it. I doubt there's anybody going to arrive at West Ham in January who hasn't already had some sort of contact with the club or an agent. If you are a player and you're looking to move in January and West Ham are going to be one of your options, you'll sort of already know about it. There'll be a little inkling. There'll have been a suggestion. It'll have been mentioned to you. So you'll be watching West Ham. You'll be looking at West Ham thinking, okay, how are they going to do? You'll be worried about relegation. We heard this with Alexandro, who is he plays for Lille, doesn't he? The Brazilian centre-back. And he said he'd be willing to come to West Ham, but he wanted certain provisions in place in case the worst happened. The worst happened to be in relegation. So we know this is going to be on their minds. It's going to be on the forefront of their minds, and rightly so. So it should do. They should be taking that stuff seriously. You're going to have to watch out for your career. Joining West Ham could be very, very bad for your career. And that helps. I've got to say, that win helps. And having Nuno helps. And if we can get to January still in touch, maybe, I say still in touch, that would be the least of my hopes. The biggest of my hopes would be that we're out at the bottom three. That makes a huge difference, because looking at it when you're cut adrift, you're thinking, I'm not sure I can join West Ham. Certainly you wouldn't be looking to join any long-term contract. If you did, you'd want certain clauses in there. And I think this helps. That did a lot. That win against Newcastle did a lot. Did a lot for Freddie Potts, did a lot for Nuno, did a lot for us, did a lot for everybody at the club. But in terms of our pulling power in January, that's a big deal, because I don't know how much of the residual glory is left over from our 3 consecutive European campaigns, but in certain quarters, West Ham will have been viewed over recent years as a European team. Will be viewed as a relatively big club, big Premier League club. So I think you can have a little flirt down the bottom and people still think, oh, that's West Ham. They won't. It's one-off. Particularly if you don't know a lot about West Ham and you don't know the ins and outs of the ownership and all this stuff, you might be there thinking, oh, okay, it's a one-off. They'll bounce back. And I think if that's going to be your way of thinking as a player, it's going to be a lot more believable if you're West Ham are, whatever, I don't know, 16th or something like that. I think it's hard to think that way if we're bottom or second from bottom and we're 2 wins away from safety, 3 wins away from safety. I think you've got no chance. So yeah, I think we've got half a chance here. We've got to back it up against Burnley, otherwise that's no good. That victory against, well, it's no good, but we needed to win games that we didn't expect to win. That Newcastle one is one of them. Burnley ain't. Burnley's one we expected to win. Do that. If we get a little couple of goals swing or whatever it is, we can go above Burnley and we could get out of that relegation zone. That would be absolutely huge. But then in November, and these are when the deals start to get done. And this is important. And the striker's got to be very, very top of that list. I think getting a proper striker, getting one that can function, getting a fit, fast, able striker would really help us in the way that we play. And you never know. It's not about 20 goals a season striker or something like that. Sometimes it's about someone that might come in between January and the end of the season and get 6 goals. They could be the 6 goals that count. Do you know what I mean? But at the moment, how many goals has Fullkrug scored? Proper professional goals for West Ham? 3? I don't know. I'm guessing. I think 3? Possibly. I don't know. So he can leave. He can leave. But when I heard Plettenberg, when I heard his agent saying they will leave so as he can get in the Germany squad, it's almost like West Ham were holding him back. And I'm not saying West Ham are glorious and have been brilliant at the moment. No. But West Ham have not been holding Niclas Füllkrug back. You could easily make the case that Niclas Füllkrug signing has held West Ham back because it's just another one of those wasted bits of money. But him not getting in the Germany squad's got nothing to do with West Ham and our place in relegation. It's to do with him being injured. I think he needs to remember that. I think Fullkrug and his agent seem to think that, West Ham's been bad for Niclas Füllkrug. Well, I think Niclas Füllkrug's been quite bad for West Ham, actually. I think it's another wasted money. Should we have bought him? No. Do we waste a lot of money on strikers? Yes. I got no ill feeling towards him at all. None whatsoever. But I heard all that stuff and I thought, that's a little bit of entitlement there. And, yeah, I don't mind getting rid of Fullkrug.